Welcome to our weekly live broadcast with writers from the Denton Record-Chronicle, powered in part by the Denton Record-Chronicle and Classic of Denton. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in to DentonRadio.com. We appreciate you guys joining us. We are sitting down with Brett Vito of the Denton Record-Chronicle, getting an update on all things Denton sports. Every Monday, we sit down with writers from the Denton Record-Chronicle, get updates on everything from entertainment to business to everything else in between. And again, like I said, today we are getting an update on Denton sports. Brett, what we got going on, man?
Well, we're heading into the spring here. Kind of some exciting things going on just in the high school and college realm in Denton. And probably the biggest story of the last couple of days is Doug Boxll is coming back to town. Everybody will remember Doug Boxll. He was here years ago, coached local high school basketball. Is kind of a legend at the small school level where he is returning. This time he's coming back and taking over at Crum. So he led Bowie to the Class 3A state title last year. He's elected to come back, and he will take over for Corey Wallace, who actually went 27-8 last year at Crum. And he stayed just the 1 year, and he is now gone. And Doug is taking over at Crum. So that's a pretty interesting story. We've written about it online. There's some reasons why it makes sense for him. He was in a situation where he was going to have to play his son, who is also a coach in the high school realm here in the area, in the playoffs on a pretty regular basis. He wanted to get away from the situation where he'd have to play his son, so he ends up coming back to Crum, which is a traditional basketball power. If anybody's been around here for a while, they have won multiple state titles and used to be a basketball-only school. They didn't have football and kind of built up their reputation and statewide as a huge basketball power. And, of course, Coach Boxll is, a legend in the state, has won multiple state titles, and he is coming back to town. So that's a pretty interesting deal on the high school realm. It's also an interesting time for North Texas as far as spring sports go. We're past the spring game in football, and, you kind of get into this time of year where our attention turns a little bit more to softball, tennis, things like that. North Texas will be at home in tennis, and they'll take on UTA on Saturday. They play a midweek match down at SMU this week, but they will be back at home on Saturday if you want to go catch them. They're playing at noon. Softball's also in the middle of their season. Had reached a couple of milestones over the weekend. Hope Troutween threw a no-hitter against Mississippi Valley State over the weekend. It was an 11-0 5-inning game. She's a freshman that's really kind of been the reason that they've had, well, at least one of the reasons that they've had a kind of a breakout year. They're tied for first. We're heading into last week, and they were tied for first place in Conference USA, which is a big turnaround for them. And also in that series against Mississippi Valley State, North Texas head coach Tracy Key, who's been a college coach forever. She was at East Carolina before she ended up coming to North Texas. But she picked up her 800th career win over the weekend when they swept Mississippi Valley State. She's the 32nd active coach to have 800 wins. So there's quite a few of them out there. Softball's one of those sports where you play, quite a few games, but 800 games is a big number. So she ended up picking up her 800th win. They play Houston Baptist at home on Wednesday at 6. So they're back in town this week. They were off from Conference USA play last week, but they'll be back in town for a non-conference game. So there's a couple of local games that are going to be taking place over the next few days.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Well, it's exciting to see so much stuff going on with so many different sports and everything just taking off. So anything else we want to touch on before we wrap up?
No, I think that's it. There's just, it's spring sports time in Denton. So if you want to get out and see any tennis, softball, things like that. Track's also going on for, the local high schools and for North Texas as well. They don't have home meets because they don't have a track yet. I mean, they're in the process of building that new softball and track complex over at North Texas. They'll have more home meets once that thing opens. Cool. But they're out on the road going to meets here across the state.
Love it. Well, super, super cool. Guys, make sure you are checking it all out at DentonRC.com. Or, of course, you can always come by and pick up a physical newspaper for the Denton Record-Chronicle. Again, we do this every Monday where we sit down with the oracles of information themselves and go through everything going on in Denton. Brett, thank you, as always, for coming by, and we're going to jump back into the music. Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out DentonRadio.com for new Denton artists and where they're playing next. While you're surfing the internet, make sure you check out our friends Classic of Denton at ClassicofDenton.com.